I was babysitting for a friend's little girl, and I was introducing her to the world of nursery rhyme and fairy stories. And I put her to bed, and I wanted to look at a program about the mafia, very brutal, inside the mafia, where he explains how he killed people and the nasty things he's done. And she came down and she wanted a drink of water, and it was on in the background. I was trying to pay attention. So both worlds got cross-pollinated, and I wrote this sort of nasty fairy tale called The Three Blind Mice. It goes like this. The three blind mice, the three blind mice. They didn't tell you the same thing twice, and they wasn't very nice, and they wasn't blind. That was just a blind. They wore shades to hide their eyes, maestros with a switchblade knife. They ran all the vice, and any opposition had already lost their lives. But fuck it, lately the farmer's wife, it was rumoured she'd done the old man in, taken over everything, and had now begun to muscle in on their territory, and they didn't like it. They weren't used to being told what they could and couldn't do. Confrontation and respect was due. Both boobs bore a tattoo that proclaimed in Latin, trouble and strife and fuck you. Her other tattoo just above her pubic hair stated in mock Gothic script, abandon hope, all ye who enter. One night, the farmer's wife decided to separate the men from the mice. Had them scrubbed out by a psycho known locally only as Slasher Gore. Now the three blind mice don't see so good no more. See, being dead ain't good for the sight. Ain't that right? Ain't that fucking right? Feel it, boys. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, meet the new big mama of vice, the farmer's wife, just like it spells out in nasty neon light, twinkling, twinkling, obscuring the starlight.
Whoa.
This is a delightful little ditty called AUTOPSY. You made the opening incision with almost clinical precision. Took the heart out, found it wanting. Took the top of the head, removed the mind. What exactly was it you expected to find? I looked at you with sad eyes that said, it wouldn't have hurt half as much if you'd only waited till I was dead. This is called Pink High Heel Shoes. I remember drinking pink champagne from your pink high heel shoes. I remember making love with you wearing only your pink high heel shoes. I remember how your pink high heel shoes became candle holders, ashtrays, where you stored your hash, deadly weapons in a row. And you asked me if I remember your pink high heel shoes. Do I? I do. Thank you. This is called In the Best Time-Honoured Way. And so it got to sex, and we both knew what was to happen next. I tremblingly peeling off a pair of panties, only to be met by yet another pair of panties, creating a strange sort of weird déjà vu. You told me you were cold, and so you wore too. Oh, my poor trembling dear, I so pitied you your plight that I manfully set about warming you up in the best time-honoured way. I'll read something new. I was reading American Psycho in a bar, rather like this, and I was coming to the last chapter, and I was aware of a green neon sign blinking on and off in the background, and I didn't pay any attention to it, and I was getting to the last sentence in American Psycho, which is in capital letters, and the sign blinked off, and I looked up, and the sign said, "This is not an exit." And I went back to the last phrase in the book, and it said, "This is not an exit." And I thought, spooky or what? What? So I wrote a poem called "This is not an exit." This is not an exit, the neon sign tells me in pale neon green. I had not assumed that it was. Indeed, I would not have even seen it if I hadn't been told it was what it wasn't. So now I clutter myself with pale neon green signs that tell me what they aren't instead of what they is. This is not the end of the line, a sign on an horizon warns. This is not a hippopotamus, the sign on a hypotenuse, Blinkenwell tells me. Not being au fait with Pythagoras' theorem, the hair on the hippopotamus is sequel to the bum on the other two hides. I often confuse the two. This is not a lie, the sign hung on a truth proclaims. This is not the truth, a sign on a lie declaims. This is not a broken heart, the sign on my broken heart claims. Okay, little white lie, more camouflage than untruth. Ce n'est pas un pipe, Magritte explains in words and paints. Things is what they ain't. All I know is things ain't what they used to be. Cross my heart and hope to die, this is no word of a lie. As I sneak out through the indoor, in through the outdoor, making my escape. Watch this space, watch this face. Through the door telling me in pale neon green, I think this is where we came in. This is not an exit. But it is.